based on the confusion where most people are coming from, they are not understanding the difference between what is natural and real and what is legal and make believe and fiction. Your given name is a given, it's a fact, it's real, it's spiritual, comes from God. That's why they refer to it as a God given name. Man didn't come up with the naming process, God did. That's why everything to do with naming originates from God. But when man goes down his own system of regimes away from God, they come up with a new naming process. And unfortunately, that new naming process goes down a legal direction, positive law, not what is natural. And therefore, we are removed from the protection of God when we enter those areas. As scripture said, you will call out in my name and I will not hear you. So we're going to look at just the definition of natural law, natural rights and legal rights. Now, it says natural rights are those that are not dependent on the laws or customs of any particular culture or government, and so are universal, fundamental, and unalienable. They cannot be repealed by human laws, though one can forfeit their enjoyment through one's actions, such as by violating someone else's rights. Oh, interesting. It says you could forfeit what you have naturally by entering into something that violates someone else's rights. Well, those that choose evil and Satan and the fiction of law are in another category. So the minute that you do that, you've now negated everything that's natural. I know this is hard because most people are not able to read these definitions properly because they're blinded in the moment of the confusion. So I'm going to read it one more time. That's what we do in this. This is for learning purposes. Natural rights are those that are not dependent on the laws or customs of any particular culture or government. They're talking about legal government here. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about a legal government. And so are universal, fundamental, and unalienable. They cannot be repealed by human laws, though one can forfeit their enjoyment through one's actions, such as by violating someone else's rights. They're talking about someone else on the legal side. So if someone's created a system, a club, and you want to enter their club, so let's just say we have the side of God and we have the side of Satan and men. We have two choices. We can go down good, harmony with God, what is natural, or we can go down something unnatural. Look at the world around you. If you're not seeing unnatural behavior right now, you're not looking closely. Because we're doing everything foreign to what is available through reason and fact and truth. And that's why the world is so frustrated right now down this direction of, oh, I'm not going to take the jab. But the jab is part of the legal system. It has nothing to do with the natural system. But the people that are fighting against it are people caught in the legal system, which is not natural. And then they want to do something natural in the legal system. Now, I know this is like a mind screw, but unfortunately, what else can I tell you? This is what is happening. So when we say natural rights, we're talking about something that is right through God. It works with the harmony of his creation. When we're talking about legal rights, we're talking about a modification of something that looks like it could be from something with reason, but it goes down the logic direction. Okay, down the Dr. Spock from Star Trek direction. It's logical, but it has nothing to do with reason. It's logical to go and wipe out the population that have so much debt against them right now that it'd be better to call in the notes on them. And because these people surety the notes, they get to be killed. They get to be executed. Now the real execution happens. It's a delayed execution. They didn't realize that. They're already in the dead. They just haven't been declared dead yet. So now they're about to execute them. If this doesn't fear you and shake you, then I'm not offending you enough in the world of truth. But this is what's happening. They're calling in the notes. They're just adjusting the herd of the legal. They're calling in for the public interest. The public interest, which is tax, says we can't maintain the debt back to the people we owe the money to, so we have to call in the notes. We got to cancel the amount of people that we're paying for. We're borrowing more than we can actually maintain. So we're just going to cancel the notes. When we cancel the notes, nothing further is owed. All the debt is paid. And the parties that are involved in it know the balancing of these books on these notes. We'll call these government bonds. We'll call these stocks. We can call them anything that you possibly feel comfortable with. But it's a BC, it's a before Christ legal document. It does not acknowledge the salvation and the grace of Christ. It doesn't deal with forgiveness. So therefore, they need a surety for it, and that's you. And you're suretying your own execution right now. And so, of course, you're going to get shot because you're armed, because you're bearing arms with that last name in title, and you're suretying it. So it is a permanent legal record, they call it. And there's the word legal. And of course, when you look at the documents, at least that I've seen in the last, in the 90s and the 2000s, they'll actually put legal right beside the surname on the child. They don't put legal beside the given name, because that's a jurisdiction that belongs to God. Juris, right, and diction, speech. So if you're speaking what is wrong, thinking that you're right, well, it isn't going to work out to your benefit and to your peace and salvation. So when we're, again, going into the definition, legal rights are those bestowed upon, now just take that word, legal rights are those best owed onto a person, because that's bestowed. Best owed onto a person by a given legal system. They bestowed it on you. They gave it to you. They can be modified, repealed, and restrained by human laws. Hold on a second here. They said that they can be modified, repealed, and restrained. Do you think that God, in the God of the Bible, modifies the Ten Commandments? Did he adjust how and what you can do, or were they dictated to you that this is what is right? Now, you have a choice. You can refrain from violating them, or you can actually stay with them in harmony. But the problem with the legal system is it modifies and repeals as it goes, because Satan's a liar. And so are his governments. And so are his advocates that run it. They're called devil's advocates. Do you think they could stay to their word? Their word is already spoken in a manner that could allow it to be modified. But truth cannot be modified. Truth is truth. But fiction can come up with another modification on the fiction at any time. You can add a lie to a lie, because that's what liars do. And so basically right now, you're seeing the most amount of confusion in fiction you've ever seen in your life, where now they're just basically saying, well, you know, fill out this form and maybe we'll allow you to be exempt, possibly for a period of time, until you sign this, but admit to the fact that the actual concept of the job is good for you and stated in your exemption form, but you're just saying you don't want to do it for other reasons. I've read all these forms. It's all nonsense. If you're being conned into filling out these things and think you're going to get out of it, you're sadly mistaken, because the end result is they are there to execute the population. That is what Satan's about: birth control and elimination and execution. And so he's actually thinking he's doing God a favor here right now. But he's got a willing participant group that are willing to execute themselves because they go against God. So what a simple way to destruction is to let them do it to themselves. Let nature take its course, because what they're doing is unnatural and it's going to kill them anyways. So it's a very simple, insidious direction that the legal system is and what it represents. But it has nothing to do with God. So if you're being told by political leaders or by supposed Christians who are telling you, go out there, have a vote. Our next video will get very clear on that position. because that's misleading you through misconception, because you're holding on to the peanut of what's involved in the legal, the imagination.